Okay. We are good to go. So my name is Ligon Holloway, and I am a third year at Duke University, and we are here to show you all how to start a AAA proposal, very much for junior scholars who just have never done this before.
Yes, my name is Pasama Cole-Kweli. I am a PhD candidate at the University of Kentucky. And I am really excited. I've never been through this process, so I'm excited to learn.
Hey everyone, I'm Mieka Polanco. I guess I'm the senior in this group, but I am the program co-chair for ABA, for the Association of Black Anthropologists. And I have done this many times before, but the layout has really changed. So I'm gonna do my best to guide you all through this.
So first step, start proposal. You can navigate to this page through the AAA main website. If you go to the general call for proposals and everything, you can then navigate here where you log in. And I have
Alexis?
a proposal. Yeah, I have a proposal started, but yeah.
Sorry, just the login is your AAA login information. Is that
yes,
correct?
AAA login information, definitely. So they can link the emails and show that you have a membership. You have to be a member in order to submit a panel. So start proposal. So I already have my name and everything in here. Affiliation would be my university, right, Mieka?
Yes.
And my title would be maybe PhD candidate.
Right. So just for clarity, this is not the title of your paper or of your panel. This is your title at your institution. So yeah, PhD candidate for young scholars, it might be, I mean, whatever you are at your institution, postdoc, assistant professor, etc.
And Mieka, do you mind talking through the different presentation types?
Yes. Okay. So, the wording is slightly updated, but so kind of the most standard version of a AAA event would be a panel, which, what are they calling it now? Oral presentation session. And an oral presentation session is made up of somewhere between 5 and 7. 7 is a little high, but you can have up to 7 individual presenters. There are, I believe I'm correct, that there are 7 slots and each one is 15 minutes. And so the people who organize the oral presentation session get to kind of decide how they want to organize those 15-minute slots. I think there's a minimum of 4. You have to have at least 4 presenters, but how, what order you put them in, and whether or not you have a discussant, whether you want to reserve 1 or even 2 of the slots for discussion, meaning questions and answers, is on the program, the oral presentation session organizer. So that's kind of the most common type of event. And then those are made up from individual papers. But this year, the session organizer would be the one who uploads all the individual papers for a session. So don't confuse that with individually volunteered paper presentation. So if you'll see, is that the fourth bullet is individually volunteered paper presentation. That would be a 15-minute talk about the topic of your research that is presented not as part of a session. So you're submitting it individually. And so Pasama, we were talking about this right before the session. This is something that you might be interested in doing if you either don't have a panel that you're already part of, or you had a panel and something happened to it. It happens all the time. And you're like, well, okay, I don't have a panel, but I still really want to submit. Then you would do an individually volunteered paper presentation. Sorry, I'm going too slow. So I'll just say the roundtable is another very common one. That's a lot of times you see those with more senior scholars, but there's nothing that says it has to be that way. So that would be where you get together a group of people and there's a topic. So there would be an abstract for the whole roundtable, but there don't have to be specific abstracts for each individual. So it'll just say like this roundtable will be discussing this particular issue. And then each and then it's up to the group to decide how they want to organize it during the time itself. It's usually also the same length of time as a regular oral presentation session. I have to remind myself that it's not called a panel. You know, the chair might say, okay, everyone's, you know, talk for 5 minutes, and then we'll start a kind of roundtable conversation, or they might have 3 questions and everyone has a turn to present on it. So that's what a roundtable would be. A poster is literally a physical poster that's about your research. A flash presentation, note that that's only for in-person. Those are shorter talks about a specific topic, and usually they are about, actually you can find descriptions of what kinds of things would fit to the different kinds of panels, but I believe they're 5 to 10 minutes and they're not part of a bigger session. Yes, actually, I'm not sure about the virtual ones, the podcast and the talk, but I think you can find them all on the AAA website. And an interview is an interview with someone, and I believe that that's online only, but it doesn't say it, so I guess it's both.
Amazing. You have any questions, Pasama?
So far, it's making sense.
Awesome. So I'm gonna save and continue. Oh, I have to choose one. We'll say that we're doing an oral presentation. So you cannot do hybrid this year. So it's either online or in person. So we'll say either. And do you mind talking very briefly about the roles, Mieka?
Yeah. So the most common roles, okay, so if you are submitting a oral presentation session, that you are the organizer. So by default, if you click that, you are the organizer, but you could also be the chair. Maybe this isn't for like for the public, but as far as I can tell, they're really just titles. I got to be the chair of this, I got to be the organizer, and they're a way to kind of maybe give honors to people who really have invested in a particular event, but you know, so but there's only one organizer, so the way to kind of nod toward that person, and also it's nice on the CV, is to say chair. Okay, so let's do a presenter. Sorry to start from the middle, but it's the most common one, is someone who's giving a paper, right? So I'm doing research on a certain thing, I want to present, and it'll be a 15-minute presentation about a specific topic. That's presenter. And so for the oral presentation, this session that we're talking about, the second most common role would be a discussant. So that would be someone where they don't give a paper about their own research. They hear all the papers that are presented in that session. And ideally, you actually want them to get copies of the papers in advance, but hopefully it works. But even if it doesn't, then what they do is they sort of give an overview, kind of pulling all the threads together. Here are some things that we see in common about from all these papers. Here are some questions that arise from hearing these papers in succession, in relationship to one another. And so that's what a discussant would be. And sometimes they actually turn back to the presenters to offer questions for thought, questions for further, digging into a topic. Moderator for conversations, speaker. Okay, so obviously you can not have any other roles. Moderator and speaker, I suppose, are, so they're for conversations and debates and interviews. Okay, so those are not for this kind of session.
Great. So we'll just say I'm the chair. So then this is the title of the whole session.
Yeah, and sorry, just back on the, whatever roles you take in the program, that's what will show up. So it'll now say, so Lexi, for example, if you're also going to be giving a talk, you'll show up 3 times in the program, organizer as chair, and then also as presenter. So that's also a way to kind of elevate people who are helping you out into another title. Got it.
So we'll say AAA panel.
Yeah, that is not a great title.
Yes, thank you. I really thought a lot about it. I'm just gonna copy and paste a little blurb I wrote about Fanon, because I have nothing else to fill this with. And there's a
Well,
minimum
nothing wrong with
character.
talking about Fanon.
There you go.
So just to be clear, right, this is where you write, so it's sort of the shortest version of your talk.
Right.
150 words. Oh, okay, this is the abstract for the whole session.
Yes.
So presenter will also be submitting an abstract for their specific 15-minute presentation. But right here, because Lexi chose oral presentation session, it's going to be the abstract for the whole thing, what kind of pulls all these papers together. And you have about 575 words, 3,500 characters.
Right. So I will add Pasama.
Right. So here is where, so you want to add people after you've already confirmed with them that that they're going to be part of your panel, right? They shouldn't be surprised to get a notification.
I'm not going to put your email on blast, Pasama. And here you can put multiple, right?
I guess you could put multiple, but you can't put chair. There can't be two chairs. And since you already
Got it.
were a chair, yeah.
Oops. There we go. And I think that's it, right? So then you would upload all of the abstracts in one document, right?
Yeah, but just stepping half a step back, it says add participant. A panel needs to have, I believe it's a minimum of 4 participants. So Lexi would have to keep doing this over and over until the minimum is there. So right now we're doing this ahead of, so to submit a panel or to submit anything for the AAAs, there's 2 deadlines. One is the deadline to start a submission, and one is a deadline to complete your submission. So right now we're before the deadline to begin a submission. So it doesn't have to be all perfect. You don't have to have all your ducks in a row and all your presenters confirmed, as long as you have kind of a piece of it so you can, so it's in the system that you're working on something. And maybe just one other thing to say is that even if in the end you don't end up submitting, like it just doesn't come together and you're just like, whatever, just start it now, because you start and not finish, but you can't not start if you want to submit.
Right. So this is where we'd upload the abstracts. Then there's the themes.
Yeah. So if you're putting together an oral session, whoever is the organizer or chair should make sure that they're gathering the abstracts from all the participants. So if you're giving a 15-minute talk, you have to have an abstract that you will submit to your chair or organizer, in this case to Lexi, and Lexi collates all of them and uploads them as the organizer. If you're just submitting a paper individually, you would submit your abstract for your specific individual paper here.
And I think the maximum word count is 250 words, right?
For the abstract for the paper or for the
individual abstracts.
I believe it's 150 words.
Got it. Okay.
I may be wrong. It'll be on the website.
Okay.
I have a question. So for the abstracts, is the abstract that you that we submit by the April 6th deadline, is that the abstract, that the final one that will be published on AAA?
Yes, that is the final one that will be published. And I've definitely been in panels where the person stands up and goes, oh, back in April, I thought I was going to be talking about this thing, but actually I'm going to be talking about this very different thing. That's not good. It's not a good strategy. People look at the program and they go to papers based on the abstract. And so if you're like, I think I'm going to a paper about this, and then it ends up about being something else, you know, there's like 7,000 other panels happening at the same time, not literally 7,000, but a lot. And maybe I would have gone to something else that's more related to my research. So it's good to, so, you know, you might want to think about it when you're writing your abstract to, to commit yourself as much as you can, but maybe not more than you can at the moment. You think your conclusions are going to be something, but maybe as you do the research, they end up being something else, just keep it so that the reviewers have a good idea what the paper is going to be about, and the participants, when the conference comes around, have a good idea what it's going to be about, but just don't make promises that you're not ready to make yet.
Also, Mieka, do most people write their paper sort of prior? Like, do they generally present on something they've written prior, or do most people submit an abstract, do a ton of research, and then have it done by November?
Oh, we write it well in advance and totally organized. No, I always joke that if you want the most cutting edge research that there is, go to the conference, because it's literally written the night before, the morning before. You'll see people in the, in the lounges sitting, furiously writing up the last parts of their paper. It's probably not good for mental health, and there's ways to avoid it. But yes, no, people do not write in advance. So you should be writing an abstract about what you're working on right now and what you think will keep you busy for the near future, for the next few months.
Got it.
Good question. All right, themes. Oh, me, or do you want to? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you, please.
Yeah. So these are themes or keywords are basically like if you had to capture what this panel, or if you're submitting a paper, what this paper is about in 3 words, or sometimes a theme is 2 words, so like a total of 6 words, this is what it would be. And these are important because if I am going to the conference, I don't know you, I don't know your research, you're a young grad student, a young scholar, I haven't heard about your work yet, but I'm interested in disability or gender violence or citizenship. I might just look, so you can look up keywords and see like which papers are there about this topic. So you want to give it a little bit of thought. Obviously there's no way to capture the nuance and detail of your paper or your panel in 3 themes, but if you had to kind of capture it in just 3 ideas, what would those be? So, and it's a limited list. It gets longer every year, and that's good. But just give it a little bit of thought. Make sure that you're plugging yourself into the right conversations, because people might choose what they're going to attend based on that.
And then how would you say that keywords differ from the themes?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is also different. Sorry, it used to just be keywords, and I thought they changed it to themes. Okay, so sorry. One, notice that you're only required to have 1. You don't have to fill out all 3. So I didn't mean to say that. How do themes? So let's take a look at the list. So I'm guessing maybe keywords is going to be a longer list.
Yeah, it's very, very long.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. That's good. So it just allows you to kind of tweak it a little further. So you have your big theme ideas, and then this is slightly more nuanced. Both are used for kind of aligning you with certain scholarship.
Yes, I wanted to ask, so for keywords, if there are individual people who are creating their own papers as a part of the broader panel, what is the word? Because it's not panel, but there's the other word for it.
Session. For the broader session, will individuals be able to use specific keywords for their paper? So again, this is something that's just changed, and so sorry, I don't have the definitive answer, but it used to be that each paper could have their own keywords, and then also you have the keywords for the session. It looks like maybe now it's just for the session, so the organizer would really have to kind of look at the totality of the papers and think about what are the themes and keywords that unify them. I may be wrong. So if you're submitting individually, then you get to do keywords about your own specific paper. If I'm wrong, then when you submit, you'll see the keywords as an option, be able to fill them in.
Got it. So we have our theme and our keyword. This is probably applicable to everyone, I would hope.
Let's just take 30 seconds to just this silly thing. So as you see, it's a required question. You can't not answer, and there isn't an option of like none of the above. So it has to either be of relevance or of interest to practicing anthropologists or of relevance to students. There was a time, like if you had the option to not select them, then selecting them would actually mean something. I think that strategically speaking, just click both of them. And I'm sorry for students and practicing anthropologists who are searching to which sessions are of particular interest to them, because probably it's going to be every single session.
For sure. So next would be review sections.
Yeah, so this is an important piece because, thousands of papers and roundtables and posters and sessions are submitted, and the AAA program committee can't review all of them. And so it kind of gets not farmed out. Not actually, that's the wrong metaphor totally, but each section gets to kind of elevate certain panels that are of particular interest to their membership. And so when you're submitting, you should think about, so one thing that's important is that you don't have to be a member of this section in order to select it. You can select for any section. So let's say I'm a member of the Association of Feminist Anthropology, but this is a paper that's really like just so squarely fits with Latino and Latina anthropologists, even more so than feminist anthropology, let's say. Then pick that one. So when you're selecting which one, you should be thinking about what, so if it's a whole session, what are the totality of the papers most fitting in terms of which section, hi honey, which group of anthropologists might be interested in your paper. Sorry, it's snack time, the family's all here. We're recording a session, by the way. So when you're submitting, you want to think about who would be the group of people that would be interested in this, and also which is the group of people or which section might be most likely to be interested in your panel. And there's a few things to consider when you're deciding. So one is just the topic, right? So I see you have Association of Black Anthropologists pointed at. So So you might want to submit to choose that one if the topic fits, if you think members of the ABA would be interested, if you think the ABA would be interested in your paper. But you should also know that each section only has a certain number of slots available based on the size of the section. So the really big sections, general anthropology, AES, medical anthropology, they have a lot of slots. ABA, small section, small but mighty, but they don't have a lot of sections. So you have to kind of calculate for yourself what you think would make the most sense in terms of like, where do I have my most chances, right? Would it be like this group has a ton of slots, so they might be more kind of forgiving if it's not like exactly about their topic, but this one is really what I'm doing my paper on, so I might want to choose this one. You can choose up to 3. The way it works once you submit is the one that you choose first, the one with the red, the red star next to it, that's the one who gets it first. If that review committee is like, it's a really good paper, a really good panel, really good roundtable, but not exactly our interest, or maybe this year we're really focusing on this one area, unsettled landscapes, and and it's not quite a good fit, then that section might kick it back to the second review section, and then the second review section will do the same thing. So it's definitely in your interest to fill all 3 in, because just on the off chance, not the off chance, some people get their submissions accepted and some don't, so you have a higher chance if you actually fill the other 2 sections out.
And for people who don't necessarily have the insider knowledge, like how would one determine whether a section is large, just to like keep this in consideration? Like, would you recommend that they reach out to their advisor, or is there a good way to tell?
If you're a grad student, reaching out to your advisor is a perfect way to do it. If not, just someone who's already been in the association for a while. Generally ones that have names like General Anthropology Division or that are kind of not topic specific tend to be larger. Another way would be, so you can actually reach out. This is a lot of extra work, but you could reach out to the program chair for each section. And the way you would know who that is you could either just go into the American Anthropological Association search page and kind of browse around till you find it. I've been AAA member forever and I can never find it. What I do is I just go to Google and I type in American Anthropological Association or American Anthro program chairs, and you just open the link that has it, and it'll have all the names of program chairs and email address, and you can do it that way. You might also want to reach out to them there are other reasons you might want to reach out to them. So one is to know how big they are and how many slots they have. You might want to say, hey, I'm thinking of submitting this to you all for a review. What do you think? And so as program chair, we get emails like that, and it might be like, wow, this is a really interesting topic, but it actually seems more fitting for such and such section, or absolutely, yes, definitely submit it.
Got it. That's really helpful. Estimated attendance, is this just arbitrary?
I don't know. Okay, so this might also be a gendered thing where women always think, oh, no one's going to want to come, and they put small numbers. And then, so, I mean, I don't know that that's the fact, but I suspect that that may be. I think probably the way to, so it's just an advisory. It's just kind of to give the executive program chair an idea of what size room to get. So I think about how specific your topic is. Is it a very narrow niche sort of topic, or are you really asking this very big question for, that would be interesting to the whole association? To be perfectly honest, and maybe this is not good practice, but I always put 20. I guess sometimes I'll put more than that, but because I really don't know how to estimate.
Would you say that 20 is average or on the low end?
There's much bigger sections of events. They're usually, and we can talk about, they're usually either executive sessions or invited sessions. But even for the ones that are just a regular status, there are bigger ones. So yeah, maybe, I don't know, just put 50. People are going to be super interested in our topic.
Okay.
Not exactly answering. There are many, and also with the pandemic, it's been so hard to tell. But yes, there are sections. I don't know what the average is. I guess that's my short answer.
Got it. So this is obviously important. I actually just wrote mine, so should I potentially talk about that?
If you'd like, and I can say, it's great that AAA is really committed to diversity and equity and inclusion. And so this is your place to really clarify the ways that you bring diversity to the discipline, bring diversity to the conference. And just to say something that may be obvious, but if you're like, we're all Black, that's not diversity, right? You have to really push yourself, and this isn't going to make or break your submission, but it is really a good opportunity to think about how you bring, and diversity means more than one thing, right? That there's different things, and you're bringing, and there's different ways to do diversity. Now, that said, anthropology has historically been a white space, and a white middle class space, and a white middle class, well, I don't know, American space. And so you don't have to do a lot to to push diversity beyond that. And if everyone in the panel is Black, it's not that, I mean, that is a really important intervention. You just have to speak about it in a way that's more than just like, well, look, here we are, right? You have to say something a little more meaningful. And you can have an all-white panel that is also diverse in important ways. You just have to figure out what those ways are.
Right. Yeah. So for the panel I'm organizing, it's so far, coincidentally, honestly, all Black women. But we are each from different institutions. Most people are at different stages. We have two PhD candidates who are third years, one who's a fifth year. We have a couple postdocs, and we're hoping to get a more senior scholar. So it's interdisciplinary as well. So our backgrounds are medical anthro, culture anthropology, et cetera. And we're also hoping it's going to be multi-generational. So I think those are like really, really great ways to think about it. Also, I encourage people to reach outside of their inner circles. You'll be surprised by like how excited people are to be invited to a panel. So someone I had no connection with, we're actually now collaborating on the entire thing. And it's a great way to like network, work with other people, practice collaborative anthropology, decolonize the field,
Yes.
and get rid of the whole like authorship that is celebrated. So I'm just gonna copy and paste in Morphinon in here.
Yes, and I want to say, you know, you happen to be a panel of all Black women. So first of all, you are bringing a lot of different kinds of diversity that you mentioned, but also being a group of Black women that is bringing a particular perspective and particular kind of life experience to this conversation is a really important intervention on its own. So so I mean, diversity comes in a lot of different ways, and it's important to think about all those ways.
Great. I think this next section is for anyone who needs special accommodations. So if anyone is wheelchair bound or has mobility limitations, there's that. You know, potentially vision issues or hearing issues can be attended to in various different ways. So I think this is a way for AAA to help you if you need it as a panelist or a discussant or someone who's part of the session.
And I appreciate that they also have time zone here because since there is a virtual aspect of it, you know, you don't want people, well, it's going to be in the West Coast, but yeah, I guess if you're in Australia and it's like super early in the morning or super late at night, you know, if it's on the other end, that's good.
Perfect. So I'll save and continue.
All right. So you're not going to do this because this is
Yeah.
just a fake proposal, but this is where you just kind of sign off and confirm that everything is in place.
Yep.
Should we talk about invited, or should we save that for a different?
Maybe we should do that in a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I just want to show people, if you go home and go back to start, oh, that's not it. My submissions. There we go. It should be here. So for those who are worried about, you know, the deadline to start it, like if you have saved it correctly, it should be under your submissions and you can edit it or delete it. Great. I think that's it, right?